So what do you call yourself? Welcome to the LaTangela Show. Hey.
Yeah, what can I do for you this fine day?
This is your destiny.
Hot, hot, hot. Right now.
Welcome to the LaTangela Show. Come on in and enjoy yourself.
Right now.
We gon' party like no one else. Welcome to the LaTangela Show.
All right, good. Let's see if this microphone works. This is your newfound best friend. Don't be afraid of the microphone.
Greetings,
Say
greetings.
hello.
Hello.
My mic sounds nice. What about yours?
Mine's hello.
Okay, I love it. Welcome to another edition of the LaTangela Show podcast. You never know who's going to be in the hot seat or on the tan line, but I've got questions that need answers. And today, this phenomenal guy, he is such a powerhouse when it comes to the world of entertainment and opening the line of communication on. So today, it does my heart well to have you here. How are you, Mr. Tyris McKnight?
I can't complain at all. Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure and an honor.
Anytime. I want you to think of this as an extension of your office. I know that you have been working around the clock, getting a lot of projects done, and we're going to talk about a couple of them today.
Yeah. I have a book, of course. I'm sorry this apology took so long. I have the movie that's coming along with that, as well as an album that's going to be dropping on June 7th.
Oh, you've been busy.
Yeah.
But no. When a man is that busy, surely he has some apologies that have come along for someone that is falling by the wayside of a busy schedule. And just taking a hunch at this, I'm sorry this apology took so long. Mm-hmm. Oh, I have questions that need answers.
Yeah.
Tyris McKnight, before I even crack this open, tell me the inspiration behind an apology that you are sorry that took so long.
Well, like I tell people, like my last relationship really took a toll on me, and it was very heartbreaking when it ended. But I had to also think about what I did wrong. So for the next relationship, I was better. So I was just like, damn, I noticed that I could be a stubborn guy. I'm not easy to deal with.
Wait, I almost fell out this chair.
I'm not an easy person to deal with at all. I'm very demanding, very stubborn. Oh. And with that, I'll just also remember just me just not really apologizing much. Always thinking I was in the right and not really, giving that person that type of just do where they just listen, I'm sorry, I apologize for, being like that. So.
That's huge, especially when you hear a person just in general, but especially a man that will identify the issues that really just became an issue in a relationship that went sour. Mm-hmm. And for you to be that open, have that level of transparency, but then even the accountability to say, I'm not always easy to get along with. I don't even remember apologizing when I knew I was wrong and I should have apologized, and I need to be better, not just for the next, but in this moment as a person. How did you get to that point in knowing that even though this relationship was over, it's done, you did the wrongs, but you knew that that was the moment you wanted to put in the work to become better?
I think it was like after the last time we saw each other, prior to the last time we saw each other, we had like an emotional thing happen, and and she was crying and things like that, and I was just like, I'm gonna be in your life, whatever the case is. Then the next time it was just more explosive, but it's more anger, and I was just like, well, damn. And then like I called her again to attempt to apologize, but she was already crying.
Yeah.
And I just remember that vividly, just hearing her voice, and she was just like, how much she was gonna miss me and things like that, and I was just like, and even in that moment, like I just still couldn't bring myself to say I'm sorry, and I think that was like the last time we spoke.
But did it take that final "I'm going to miss you" to let you know that she was over it before you realized? Because eventually, she got to the point to where she said enough is enough, and she's not coming back. Did you always feel as if you could kind of make it better, even if there was not the apology there, and she'd be there?
Well, I mean, like, I don't want people to get it wrong. Like, I did a good job as a boyfriend. Let's get that out of the way.
Okay,
I was completely terrible, but but one thing is like, I guess it was just like the just me, because we were friends first. So you lose a friend and a lover, then that's something deep. But it was just like just man, like it just like just. I went through the 7 stages of grief, and I was just like, finally accepting the end of it all. So
wow,
and then
man, so he went through the 7 stages of grief. That's deep.
Yeah.
Losing a love, losing a friend, and now it has birthed something. And when something is birthed out of so much pain, you know that there's going to be a lesson there for the person in that moment, and it's going to find who needs it the most. I'm sorry this apology took so long. This is available wherever books are sold. And of course, we're working on the website right now to make sure that you have everything you need in order to be a part of the culture and a part of the tribe of the things that Tyris has been working on. But when you're going through the YouTube channels, when you're going through Woku, when you're going through Future Today, when you're on Tubi, you have a new project, New Orleans 2030.
Yes.
Oh, dear Nola, I got questions that need answers. I love New Orleans, like from everything from the music to the food. And when I say the food, it definitely includes Pandora Snowballs on South Carrollton.
Oh, yeah. Pandora's is the best snowball place in New Orleans. In New Orleans. But yeah, so New Orleans 2030 was basically like the sequel documentary to New Orleans politics. New Orleans 2030 in the city of New Orleans, and I appreciate you saying that you love the culture, you love the jazz, you love the people and the food. But within the city itself, we have gentrification, displacement taking a hold of the city at an enormous rate. And I saw that, and every year the black population in New Orleans decreases, while the economics stay the same. Wow. So then I asked myself, I said, listen, by the year 2030, how will the city of New Orleans look? Because every city has a 10-year plan. For those who don't know, if you go to your city, they have a 10-year plan for your city.
When was the last time, and I'm just going to put it out there, when was the last time you checked on the city's 10-year plan? Where are we currently on that circulation? Like, these are questions that we don't ask ourselves. And so whenever you hear the interviews and I say I have questions that need answers, those questions may not typically be mine, but for those who sit in the hot seat or the tan line, there is something that's important to you that's facing you on a day-to-day that may find a listener, that may find a viewer, and then make us start asking questions and normalizing conversations. Because, we always see these different politicians. We're familiar with a lot of them from the yard signs. Yeah. And maybe not their work, maybe not their platform, because we don't ask the right questions at the right time. Not understanding that even if we don't and we're not familiar with whatever it is, we're going to get whatever the results are, whether we like it or not.
Yeah. And another thing is, like, we don't control the politicians. We don't put money towards the politicians. Nobody goes to the politicians, like, and I mean like as a whole, like as a black community, we don't go and say, listen, let's put our money together and go ahead and say, listen, I'm gonna put this towards your campaign, but could you look out and do this? Like, this happens. This is how politics works, through money. Like, they get funded by whatever organization, whether it's Ford, whether it's Chrysler, whoever the case is. Chrysler might come in and be like, hey, listen, I got $1 million towards your campaign. Do you mind if we get the permits to build this building right here?
So you're saying that people need to have agendas, they need to have these meetings, they need to have the resources, and they need to have the meetings in the upper room. Right.
That's because that's the only way you're gonna get there. Like even the documentary is filled with politicians, and people are like, man, how did you get in touch with the politicians? And I was just like, hey, I've been clicked in with politicians for a while now, and in the city of New Orleans.
Did you come across any that were reluctant and said, no, I don't want to speak, I don't really want to have that conversation, and especially not on a camera?
Of course. Okay. Some people agreed to do it, then they backed out at the last minute. Of course, Of course, you're gonna have that. But for those who are brave enough to speak, they did an awesome job. They did a phenomenal job. I must say, they did not hold back. But once again, we talked about the problems. What can we do as a whole? But we just got to implement the plan. Like, we actually got to put some action towards the words that we were speaking.
We do. And for New Orleans politics, you'll be able to find that documentary. It's available. But the latest in New Orleans 2030, here we are in 2024, tick-tock, tick-tock. What do we look like? What's the trajectory between now and 2030 from what you've seen while collecting data and having these interviews and just seeing it day to day, living there?
There's going to be a paradigm shift if we don't if we don't at this moment select the right person or put money towards the right politician in this upcoming election with mayor and things like that, there's going to be a very big paradigm shift as far as culture, as far as like what New Orleans looks like, as far as race politics and racial makeup. And it's going to be a big paradigm shift where black people are going to be second-class citizens in their own city.
What inspired you to even want to have this conversation beyond the dinner table?
Just I guess like just seeing the city, like I said, like me and the city of New Orleans, we got a great relationship, and just seeing the trajectory, and I was just like, what can I do to help? And then like as I looked across everything, I was like, you know, before Katrina, I think the population was around 70%, if I'm not mistaken. But after the black people moved from Katrina, it dropped down to like 60. Now we're at 58.8%.
So
you guys can fact check those numbers.
Decline?
I've
He
been
said
knowing them
fact
numbers.
check them.
But yeah, fact check everything I'm saying. But yeah, so I seen the numbers declining, and I was just like, man, like what's going on? So I asked myself a question. I said, why is it that also why is black people 60% the population, but we only control 2% of economics in New Orleans? I was like, that don't make sense.
No. You got to slow down and say that a little bit louder with your chest.
Yeah.
You said 60% to 2%. Is that what you said to me?
Yeah.
I'm sitting close to him and want to make sure I didn't miss that.
Yeah.
Slow that down. Say that again now. Why is it
That we're 60% of the population, but we don't control 2% of economics.
of the population that we control
2% of economics.
2% of the economics? Make it make sense.
Yeah. So, and we got black legislators, black lawmakers, black government, like mostly black, majority black. What's going on? Like we make a lot of money in New Orleans, like as far as like Jazz Fest that's going on right now, I believe. We got French Quarter Fest. We got all types of festivals going on.
We're a festival state. So
Yeah.
you're going to find a lot of the festivals going on, especially in New Orleans.
Mardi Gras touring, Saints football. Where is all the money going? What's going on? So if we got all this money circulating and we're not getting a part of it, something's going on. Something's wrong, or there's a disconnect somewhere along the line. So economically, I want black people in New Orleans to do better, because the median household, black household, is $24,000. That's how much the median household makes.
Wow.
$24,000.
Wow.
$24,000 a year. That is pitiful. Especially compared to our counterparts, which I think their median income is $75,000.
Especially when
And
you
we're
start
the
talking
majority.
about having a livable wage, being able to say that you want to provide a life for you and your family, even with just the bare necessities.
Yeah, with the bare necessities. But me, myself, I don't know how everybody else feel, I want the maximum necessities.
Yeah.
I want to live a maximum life. I don't want to live a life where it's just mediocre, things like that. And it's just something to inspire to. Like, we just can't just like, oh, well, it is what it is. We're just going to let the politicians make all the decisions for us. We put these politicians in office, so we got to hold their feet to the fire.
We've
And
been
we
at
got
it
to do
is
that.
what it is for far too long.
Yeah.
And I have a real issue, especially when we allow people to sit with a title and we are not seeing results or even moving in the right direction for the positive results that we wanted when we voted for them. You know, we understand that there's not one magic pill, there's not one magic wand. True enough. But if you start seeing little steps and it's moving in the direction and we're starting to see a bigger shift for the good, I think people will be more at ease. So while you were filming this documentary and you're doing all of your interviews from politicians to just your neighbors, what was the biggest aha moment for you? Like, now that makes sense.
I think was with Senator Joseph Bowie. Shout out to Senator Joseph Bowie and Erase the Board. That's the organization out there. He was talking about how New Orleans is the only charter school system in America. Not just America, but the world. The only full charter system in the world, and it's a failed system. So if it's a failed system, why do you keep doing things that continue to fail? So, and people want to know why the education system is so messed up, and not just Louisiana, but New Orleans, period. That's part of the reason right there. But also, they don't have any certified teachers in these schools teaching these kids. They fired all the certified teachers from what the organization told me. They said they came in, they fired all the organizations, and then with the black kids, they went from having a high rate of percentage of gifted kids to the lowest one. I think it went from like 60% gifted kids in New Orleans to like 1% or something foolish like that. And that doesn't happen by mistake. That happens by plan and design.
Well, while we're watching this documentary, New Orleans 2030, which is available right now from YouTube, Future Today, Tubi, Woku, and Discovered, we would be able to ask or find the answers from your interview with the politicians as of why do they allow the charter system to keep going?
Right.
Who's funding the charter system?
Well,
how do we break away from that? What is the plan B? Did they address that at all?
Well, the organization Erase the Board did, which was a collection of psychiatrists, psychologists, and former teachers that were in the school system. They did that. When I got to the politicians gave me political answers. Let's keep that. Let's keep that in mind. They gave me some political answers.
Political answers like what? We're reviewing that under this administration. We'll come up with a plan, or we're refining the plan. Like, what does that look like? Give me
exactly.
give me what is the politically correct answer for that.
Exactly. That's what they said.
Okay.
It's under review.
I don't know.
Exactly. So that's a political answer.
Oh,
and,
wow.
And just like and even if you try to press harder, they're just like, you just don't want to press too hard because then, you cut your interviews off and things like that. But as a documentary filmmaker, I just got to get the rawest part of the interviews and everything else. So,
Yeah, you got your work cut out for you. I tell you that, especially when you're talking about New Orleans 2030. People really now will start asking the questions. Well, we're living here. We have children here. We are teachers here. What does the future look like here? Not just in this moment, but dear 2030, you're right around the corner. Where are we going? How will we get there? And will we like it there whenever we get there, wherever there may be?
I don't think we're going to like it too much. I think,
wow, Tyris.
I don't think we're going to like it too much. I mean, like the crime in New Orleans is terrible, and we all know that crime is poverty plus proximity. And I don't think we're going to like where we're going.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'm pretty sure we're going to love this documentary, New Orleans 2030. It is now available, and I appreciate you so much for taking time out of your schedule. And I want you to think of this as an extension of your office. It's a trickle effect. Whatever is going on in New Orleans, chances are, is going to impact what's happening in Baton Rouge. It's going to impact what's happening in Lafayette. It's going to impact what's happening across the state because we're all connected one way or the other,
yes,
right? So as you're traveling and you're getting all of your research, if there's anything that we can do to pick up a phone to let you ask the questions to the people that's accountable for whatever, that's what the platform is here for.
Yeah, most definitely. And I appreciate you having me and being a part of your platform.
Oh, anytime. It's a field trip. Now, look, I know you got more work to do, so I'm going to let you chase the sun or let the sun chase you. But either way, get after it. I love you, and there's absolutely nothing you can do about it.
Appreciate that.